Welcome to the ArmaniTalks YouTube channel. I'm your host, ArmaniTalks. In this channel, I'm covering communication skills for you to level up your way with words and become much more articulate. In today's episode, we are breaking down a section from my book, Brilliance, 101 Short Stories, Essays, and Insights to Improve Your Communication Skills. This book is currently available on Amazon and Audible. I'll drop the links in the description box and in the pinned comment right on below. So the section that I'm going to be breaking down today, the title is 4 Hobbies to Make Money and Improve Communication Skills. The reason that you want a hobby, especially as an adult, is because the problem of having too much time is one of the worst problems you can have. Whenever you have too much time, what you will either do is you will stir up drama for no reason, or you will worry. You will confuse your thinking as reflecting, but in reality, you are just worrying. If you have a good hobby, then what you will do is you will get all that creative energy that it will require you to start drama with someone or you to overthink, and you will channel that creative energy into something productive. Now, it's one thing to have a hobby, but you know what I like even more? Making money. So what about I use the hobby to make some money? That's how you want to think. So the first tip that I give is blogging. Blogging is when you turn your thoughts into articles, essays, stories, and you could post them online. I'm not necessarily going to talk about how to set up the blog, the technical aspect of it, but if you want, you could just go on Upwork or Fiverr and get a contractor to set up your website for you. You want to get in the habit of writing your thoughts out so you can actually form a philosophy. The problem is that most people actually have no clue how to think. What they do is they just mind hop from thought to thought. They see what other people are doing, then they begin to do the same thing as what other people are doing. So most people don't think. Thinking requires strategy. It requires effort. It requires a consistent writing practice. So when you blog, what will happen is that it's very fun. It feels therapeutic to get your thoughts out there. And in the future, what you can do is you could put ads on your blog. There's a thing called the Google AdSense program. So the more traffic that your blog gets, the more that people will click on the different ads and Google will pay you. Think about the money later. At first, focus on the craft of blogging. The better that you get on blogging, the more traffic that you will get. The more traffic that you will get, the more money that you will eventually get. So blogging is one of the hobbies that I bring up in this entry. The second one is emceeing. Emceeing and public speaking are two completely different things. Where both require you to speak. The biggest difference is that with emceeing, you're more so the glue guy. You're the host. Where the public speaker has to talk about a topic in depth, the MC is the surface level guy. He's introducing the different speakers. He's making sure everyone is having a good time. When it's time for food, he will section off the audience appropriately to go get the food rather than everyone rushing to the food line at once. That is what an MC does. To be an MC, it's not that challenging. It just requires effort. You need to find local events near you, and you need to initially say, hey, look, I will MC for free. It's even better if you could find some sort of mentor that does emceeing already or is surrounded by that. So there was this one month where I was shadowing this wedding planner, and he was a dude. So he knew about all the different parts of a wedding, and he also knew the MC. So I would sit with him and I would see how he would prepare his shows. Later on, when I was working with my public speaking coach, one day, he was throwing an event called Be Inspired to Inspire. There were a bunch of public speakers, those guys that talk in depth about a certain topic, but there was no host, an MC. So he asked me, hey, Armani, this far we've been training for a while. Do you want to put your skills to the test? I said, sure. So that was the first time that I emceed an event, and that event is actually on YouTube. If you ever type in Be Inspired to Inspire ArmaniTalks, it should come up. It's a leadership conference. After that, once I got some experience, I was able to go to different events and MC and they would pay me 500 bucks. 500 bucks for 2 hours, that's not bad. And they will give me food as well. In my opinion, that's a good deal. That's something fun to do on the weekends. It doesn't even feel like work because you're pretty much just being this glorified hype man. A lot of the speakers will give the cards to you, their introduction cards. So you're pretty much just reading off a bunch of cards with enthusiasm. And then you're just seeing if everyone is having a good time. That's what an MC does. And this is a fun hobby to have. The more that you do it, and the more after the event, by the way, you should go to the different people and be like, hey, how did I do? Do you mind if I record you just so I get a video testimonial? Build your portfolio. This is a great hobby to have. And in the future, you could easily charge more. I've made over $1,000 for an event. And nowadays I could charge more. It's just, you got to understand, you are trading your time in for money. So it's great to do once you have a lot of time. But I think if you want to eventually focus on other parts of your business, treat it more like a hobby. Say yes to the big events rather than saying yes to every event. The third hobby is to write books. This is, I would recommend that you start off with blogging. The more that you blog and you understand the micro muscles of writing, the easier it is to write books. Now, the thing with writing books is that it's one of the most versatile ways to make money online. Why? Because you could write one manuscript and generate at least 15 streams of income from that. What do I mean? So let's say you write one manuscript. Automatically, what you have is a Kindle book, and you also have a paperback book. In addition to that, you can also add in an audio version. A lot of people nowadays, when they're driving, they're not going to read and drive. Don't do that. They'll listen to their books. So if you offer an audiobook version, you get a narrator from ACX. Now you have 3 streams of income from one manuscript. And then you post this manuscript on a platform like Draft Digital. So they'll send your book to places like Barnes & Nobles, Apple, Kobo, and all these other distributors. So they're going to just send you a check. Amazon is going to send you a check. ACX is going to send you a check. And guess what? You wrote this in English. Why not convert it into Spanish and repeat the entire process again? Then you convert it into French, repeat the entire process again. Then you can turn it into Arabic, repeat the entire process again. Do you see what I'm saying? So writing books, in my opinion, is one of the most versatile things to do. And once you have a book, you could always create spin-off content. You could generate you could find the most interesting parts of the book and create tweets. And if your tweets start to pop off, your Twitter account starts to generate a lot of traffic, then you can apply to their monetization program. There's so many different things you could do when you write books, but I highly recommend you work your way up to it. You don't just try to write a book from the very beginning. There are a lot of micro muscles you need to learn first. And the fourth is what I call impromptu speaking skills. In my opinion, this is such a fun hobby. The way that I got into it was I went to a Toastmasters club and I was called to do a table topic speech. When I did my first ever successful table topic speech, I noticed, wait a minute, I just made this person laugh and that person laugh, and I never prepared this talk ahead of time. I wanted to learn more about the skill set, so I would go to a lot of different Toastmasters and I would do table topics competitions. And it was a fun way in order to build this hobby muscle. But why stop at a hobby? Eventually I thought, well, let me turn this into a skill. And the difference between a hobby and a skill, by the way, is a hobby, it only entertains you, while a skill provides value to other people. So if I'm just doing impromptu speaking in my room and no one's watching me, that could be a hobby. But the second that I turn my impromptu talks into YouTube videos and at least one person from the planet gets value out of it, now I have a skill. So when you know impromptu speaking, you could easily make a lot of money. I know guys that know impromptu speaking that can easily get promotions because they know how to think on their feet. The subject matter experts, whenever they're in the conference calls and the upper manager probes them and asks them questions, the subject matter expert is like, I need some more time. Well, the guy who knows impromptu speaking jumps in and helps this guy out. And the guy who jumps in is given more promotions. If you know impromptu speaking, you could easily start a YouTube channel and you'll never run out of content. You could start a podcast. You could go on interviews. You could do one of those Joe Rogan type shows. So there are a lot of things you could do as soon as you learn impromptu speaking. So a couple of the skills that I brought up today, my friend, was impromptu speaking. That's one great thing to learn. Writing books, emceeing, and blogging. These are things that start off as hobbies, but they eventually turn into skills and become money generating machines. Don't have too much free time on your hands. Use that free time to build a hobby and eventually use that hobby to fill your wallet. Thank you very much for joining me. And if you enjoyed today's talk, go ahead and drop that like for me right on below, and I will catch you next time.